Hey guys, Chris and Jason here. We are both certified Google AdWords managers, and we're basically going to just share some. Jason has a story to share that we're going to talk about here. We typically do our paid search podcast, but today we're going to talk about the business of AdWords itself. Talk about some issues that we run into when we are working with clients, and particularly Jason has a story about losing a client. So, Jason, what you got going on? What's the sad story for today?
Well, Chris, I got fired today by one client. Obviously, I have many clients, so it's not that big a deal. But it's never good to have that feeling, And obviously, the client's not happy. But here's the problem, and why we're doing this video talking about responsibilities between the AdWords manager and the business owner. I did everything I was supposed to do, and I just needed a warm red T-shirt to cry on today, Chris. And I just need you to back me up here. I did everything I was supposed to do. This client, they're in a service business. We started off the search term quality, which we talk about all the time, was not great when we started my campaign for them. We were learning the niche, wasn't great. But after a couple of weeks, I got the search terms where do they need to be. Almost every single click that came through was from something very spot on, someone searching for that kind of business to hire. There was no question about search terms quality. And the reason I was fired after just a month, actually, is they were not happy because they were getting 0 reported conversions, 0, goose egg. And what I told them is, I'm doing everything I can do on the search term AdWords side, getting your clicks, your AdWords clicks from searches that are done by people who are wanting to hire a company like yours. That's all I can do is show up on the right search terms. Hardly any bad search terms, no wasted spend. And are you really getting 0 conversions? I personally didn't think they were, Chris. I knew some of the website phone calls, something had to be going right because there was no click fraud or anything, normal click-through rate. We were showing up on the right kind of searches. Something's got to be coming through, a lead form, website calls. And I just think they didn't have their tracking down correctly. And that's why it showed 0 reported conversions in AdWords. But of course they said, well, you should have done more. You should have called Google and researched this issue. And I just told them we could research all day. All we can do is get you the right kind of clicks from the right kind of search terms on the AdWords side. So have you ever run into a situation like that, Chris? And I know that you prep your clients a lot. So how do you avoid a situation like I just went through?
Yeah. Well, Jason,
and should I have been fired? Didn't I do my job, bro?
Yeah. Okay. Well, Jason, first of all, you're exactly right. You had the right answer. The answer of an AdWords manager for what your job is as an AdWords manager is to deliver qualified traffic to your client's website. I mean, it's not to guarantee ROI. It's not to guarantee leads. It's not to try and prop up a business that's failing because you can guarantee that you can sell a certain number of products. I even have issues with
edit website code.
Yeah, exactly. You're not there to try and verify how many sales you brought in yourself. I mean, your job is being done. So I think you were right on track. I don't necessarily think that it would be appropriate for anyone to fire someone after 30 days because they don't feel that they delivered what they didn't promise. I think that's kind of silly. You did not promise conversions. You promised quality of traffic. They said, why didn't you get me this, even though you promised me this?
Right? Now, I don't want them I don't tell clients you're going to get 0 conversions. I mean, I told them, hey, when we show up on the right search terms, we do get conversions. I mean, in my experience across many campaigns. So I think it was more about a reporting issue, and they didn't have their third-party call tracking set up correctly. Mm-hmm. Their lead form was funky and not always working. So I don't want to tell them, hey, I don't have anything to do with conversions. I do think I'm getting you conversions, but you've got to do your part to get the tracking right on your property.
Yeah. Okay. So let's assume that, Jason, you were doing your job just like you should, which I'm sure you were. You were doing qualified work, bringing qualified traffic to your client. So I think what failed here is the client not doing their job. So we talk about the other side of the coin. The client has a job as well. The client's job is to make sure that the type of traffic that's being delivered is what they want. That you are meeting their goals, their quality goals for the type of traffic they want. Okay. Right. Because here's the thing, as an AdWords manager, you and I know AdWords. That's our job. Okay. Right. That's our job, is to know AdWords and make sure AdWords gets traffic flowing through to the client's website that fits what the client wants. The client's job, on the other hand, is the exact opposite. They know their business. They don't know AdWords. Don't pretend that you know AdWords and that you know how to pick keywords or write ad copy or choose geographic settings or any of these things that you might get nitpicked on. The client's job is to look at what the AdWords manager is providing and listen to their interpretation of, the data and say, that's good or that's not good. That's what it comes down to. That's their one job, is to interpret the data that you're providing them. Well, I wouldn't say interpret, but listen to your interpretation of the data.
Judge the search terms report. If it's a moving company, Movers Minneapolis, great keyword, Movers Minneapolis to Paris. Hey, Jason, we don't move people to Paris.
Yeah.
Put Paris as a negative keyword.
It should be an easy job, because that's the one thing they should know. They should know their business. And if they get certain search types that do not fit their business model and they know are not valuable to them, then they should be able to say, Jason, that's off. But if you show them a list of their search query, I'm not talking about bounce rates. I'm not talking about conversions. Who cares about conversions? Conversions aren't dollars in the bank. Bounce rate does not mean anything. What it comes down to is search query data. If that search query data looks like it's right on track with the type of customer they want and they can't convert it, you've done your job. They haven't done theirs in converting.
And those are the two job descriptions, I would say, to make AdWords work for a business and bring in more customers and more revenue. AdWords manager has to get the most quality traffic possible. That's the job definition in my mind. The business owner has to, number one, give the AdWords manager a clear idea of what kind of traffic they want. That was done in this case. And then step two, they have to convert that. Once they get the quality traffic, it's the business owner's job to convert it. And that, by converting it, means having good people on the phone and having good sales. It means having a good website, but it also means getting the tracking correct. So then those leads do show up in the AdWords account. So Chris, I think the failure here would be not qualifying the client that I took on, not having that conversation with them initially. And I know that this is something you have lots of thoughts about. So what is your client acquisition process as an AdWords manager? Let me give you a scenario here. A new client goes to chrisschaefer.com. They fill out your form. What does that first conversation with them look like? Do you tell them that your only job is to get the quality traffic? Do you kind of lay out the situation that I just went through to try to avoid it? Do you lay it out right from the start what their roles are?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think I even pitch it in my my video on my website. I say, you have your job and I have mine. But I absolutely say that right up front. I say my job is not to try and bring your business to a profitable level by, guaranteeing conversions or, by, if you have a crappy product and I bring you the type of traffic that you want, and you can't sell it, that's not my job. I mean, my job is to bring you the traffic that you need. So I don't say it quite so coldly. I say it with, a bit of sugar, but absolutely. I prep clients and make sure they know, if you see 0 conversions on the first month report, this is not a failure. I always say you can spend $5 or $55,000. No matter what, you're going to get something out of every AdWords campaign that you run. You're going to get data. You're going to get information.
Right.
Traffic is cheap. Traffic, you don't pay to get traffic. What any business can get is data and information. And if you see certain types of search queries not converting, that's information that you've gained for a price, whether you got conversions or not.
I love that mindset. And just a tip for the AdWords professionals out there, Chris. Some clients you can clearly explain to them, like I did and like you do up front, but not every client's going to accept that. They're going to think that you need to be the miracle worker. You need to be responsible for everything. And I would say, Chris, those are the clients where it's just, you can try them out, but if they come back to you and say, hey, you're responsible for the conversions, converting people on my website, even though all you're truly responsible for is that quality of traffic, some people you just don't need to be working with. It's just not going to work out. And a little tip for the AdWords managers out there, I would say yellow or red flag that comes up is if someone tells you they've been through many AdWords managers in the past. This is key. This will help you all in your own careers. It's not a 100% rule, because Chris, I have had clients that I am their third, fourth AdWords manager, and it's worked out great because the previous ones weren't good. But at the same time, if someone says, well, I've been through 5, 6 AdWords managers in the last 2 years, odds are out of the 5 or 6, probably 1 or 2 of them is as good as us or the people watching this, Chris. I mean, someone knew what they were doing at that point. And it's just a red flag, like, oh, this is the kind of client that doesn't have good clear expectations, realistic expectations, and maybe it's best just to not do business with them.
Yeah.
So I've had tons of managers in the past and we can't get it right. That's a red flag.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. I think, Jason, you and I have, plenty of experience doing this, and I hope this is valuable to those of you that,
Chris, am I going to be okay?
You're going to, well,
is everything going to be okay?
I think your other 254 clients that you have will probably see you through the rest of your.
Am I successful, Chris?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
As you say, you are very successful, Jason. You are good at what you do.
Good to be reminded of that.
And what is the look in the mirror and gosh darn it, people like me.
Chris, I'll give you a little hint for, I'm going to read a review on the next podcast. He says he loves us. He says that I'm a little boastful. That's the only thing he doesn't like. He says I'm a little boastful. And what I'm going to tell him on the next show, when I read off that thing, I'm going to say, look, I try not to be, but honestly, if you knew half of how successful I truly am, you would be shocked at how humble I am compared to relative to how successful I am actually pretty humble.
Yeah. Jason's humility is epically, it's epic humility, right? I mean, that's,
but hey, I'm human
makes
too,
sense.
Chris. It never feels good to be fired,
Yeah. Well,
especially when you do your darn job.
Guys, if you're an AdWords manager, you're going to go through what Jason went through, and I've been through many times. It hasn't happened this week, but hey, it's only Thursday. It's probably going to happen tomorrow. So you're going to get fired. It's going to happen. You're going to have bad clients, but that's where you just pick up and start with a brand new one. Make sure you communicate that information, and it will help alleviate that pain on that first month when your conversion rate sucks, or maybe they don't get what they thought they were getting. Setting expectations is important. So thanks for listening. Be sure and check out, if you like this completely honest view of AdWords, we also do the Paid Search Podcast, and you might enjoy that, where we share way more than we should about AdWords and how to get what you should out of the amazing PPC system of Google. So be sure and check it out. Subscribe. We do things weekly, and we appreciate you listening and watching. Have a good day.